Gerard and Rhino in the SuperTalk studios. Joining us now, our good friend, host of SportsTalk Mississippi, Richard Cross, live from Hoover, Alabama. And he's at SEC Media Days. What's going on over there, Richard?
Gee, I didn't know that there was a dress code today. My apologies for leaving the coat and tie off.
Well,
hey, do you have a nickname? I just called you G. Does that?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
That's sometimes my wife refers me as that. My children and their cohorts frequently refer to me as the G-Man.
Okay.
And that works as well. But yeah, I got a board meeting after the show today, so I had to come dressed appropriately for the board meeting. I didn't want to confuse you into thinking it was for you already. All right.
Enough.
You guys having a good time over there at the Media Days?
We are having a good time. Yesterday was a fun first day, kind of easing into things a little bit. Today you've got Ole Miss coming in the afternoon, so they will be here in the next couple of hours. So Lane Kiffin, maybe the most highly thought of is probably not the right way to describe it, but in terms of profile for returning players in the SEC, Matt Corral arguably has the highest of those.
Wow.
Of the 28 players that are going to be here. So I think there's some interesting storylines that go along with Ole Miss. We've already had some great conversations with some folks that are going to be on the show this afternoon. Got a whole lot more of that coming up. So in addition to Matt Corral and Lane Kiffin, Jalen Jones from the defensive side will be here with Ole Miss. Mississippi State coming tomorrow. This is fun, man. And it's fun because we're getting close to football season. Right?
Yeah.
7 weeks from this past Saturday.
Hard to believe. What about any sort of injury reports? I know they hadn't started the two-a-days in the big. Nobody's hurt. Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point,
no more injuries in football. We've actually gotten rid of those. It's going to make the game a whole lot smoother. We're all going to feel better about it. It's going to help the long-term health of college football. We're not doing injuries anymore.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to know that. So we can just get rid of this injured list and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
We don't need that.
Not going to need it anymore.
Okay.
As far as I know, I mean, if you're not healthy at this point of the year, it's somebody that you're either have recovering from a full off season of, surgery and whatnot, or somebody who is about to miss the entire year. Maybe one guy that is worth noting would be Jerrion Ealy, who running back people think a lot of, chose not to play baseball this spring at Ole Miss.
Yep.
Had surgery in the offseason, seems to be 100% as they move toward the start of practice. They had a bunch of guys they held out. Ole Miss, I'm talking about, and specifically out of the spring game. On the offensive line, some skill position guys, and not all of those were serious injuries. Some of it was just it was such a weird year. Hopes are kind of high about this upcoming season. There's only a certain amount you can accomplish during the spring. Some of it was precautionary.
Yeah.
And, Matt Corral he didn't go through the first 2 weeks of spring practice and then went through the spring game and kind of finished up over the last, 5 to 8 practices. So they were really careful with guys in the spring, trying to make sure that they are healthy and ready to go when fall camp rolls around.
Yeah. Well, so that's good news. Of course, when they get out there and start bumping into each other within pads in August, it just seems like, and I'm not trying to jinx it, but it just seems like almost all the programs end up with somebody that gets a little banged up and maybe misses the first game or something like that. Yeah, it just does. All right, so yesterday, Commissioner Sankey, he had a lot to say about what we can expect with respect to possible game cancellations and then rescheduling of those games, and had a lot of data about the vaccination rates of the various programs across the SEC, the 14 schools. I think he said 6 have been, 80% vaccinated, I believe, and there's some rules about when you hit the 85% threshold with respect to protocols that have to be observed. What can you tell us about that? It was a lot.
There was a lot there. First of all, you've done plenty of public speaking through the years. Greg Sankey does something, and really Mike Slive previously did something that drives me crazy. They like to start a speech with lyrics from a song. It's like that's how they want to set the tone It's a little bit of a pet peeve for mine, but it works for them. And so his song and his theme were Bob Dylan, Times They Are A-Changin'.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
It was a little bit of a stretch, but, creativity, whatnot. Mike Sly was more, he would go with a historical quote. He would either go to Winston Churchill or Muhammad Ali or somebody along those lines. So, one of the whole public speaking gimmicks.
Oh, yeah.
So the vaccination thing is strange. And here's what I think is coming. Nobody's on the record as saying this, but maybe some inside information here. The whole, if you get to a certain threshold, 85% or otherwise, that has been that's been the incentive that NFL teams have used, Major League Baseball has used to allow travel, and it's what college football teams have talked about.
Okay.
Gerard, I predict that we are about to hear that go completely away. Nobody's going to be talking about vaccination percentage thresholds anymore. They're going to couch the conversation this way.
Okay.
If you are vaccinated, you are free to live your life. If you are not vaccinated, we're about to make this so hard on you that you're going to want to either quit or get vaccinated. And I used the example yesterday. I mean, and people can like that or not like that, but it's where we're trending in athletics, and it's where we're trending in some other areas as well.
Yep.
And I used the analogy yesterday. I mean, it's the whole, with the horse, is it a carrot or is it a whip? I mean, you can decide. I think that schools are going to put some carrots out there. They're going to put some incentives out there for their student athletes. But the whip piece of it is going to be the uncomfortability of, okay, you've chosen not to do this, and that is absolutely your right, and your scholarship's still good, and you're still part of this team. But if you haven't been vaccinated, you can't travel.
Yeah.
Like you can't go with us when we get on an airplane to go play a game. And, look, I don't want to necessarily get into the debate of, whether it's right morally or it's the healthiest thing or whatnot. But the bottom line is, if you want to participate in big-time college athletics, you're probably going to have to get vaccinated.
Yeah, it seems like that's where it's headed.
That's where it's headed.
Yeah, I agree with you. We've been actually discussing that on the program this morning, and I just feel like, and I don't want to get into that much deeper, but I feel like that it's kind of bubbling up, and it's setting up to become a very controversial matter in this country, and I don't think sports is exempt from that. Let's just put it that way.
No, it's not. And I mean, the SEC, and look, most medical people are really pushing for it. And, they say if there is a risk, the risk is so minuscule that it's worth taking the risk. And, I mean, I certainly understand that. Those people are a whole lot smarter than me. I've kind of joked about it. I said, look, I don't know exactly what's in that shot, but I'm pretty sure I've put worse than that in my body before, so let's give it a shot and see what happens. No pun intended.
I hear you.
But, I mean, so that's obviously a huge, huge deal in terms of that. And then the other thing is all this change that's happening with the NCAA. I'm not sure that there is an entity in these United States of America that has more incompetent leadership than Mark Emmert at the top.
I'm with you.
I mean, it's just the reality. I mean, I don't understand how you can lead a multi-billion-dollar organization and everything you do be reactionary. That's not how you grow. That's not how you succeed. It's certainly not how you lead, but that's how he has led and somehow has managed to hoodwink the Board of Governors into extending his contract.
I know.
And it just doesn't make sense. I mean, you're trying to treat, from a business standpoint, Gerard, you're trying to treat a Fortune 100 company in the exact same way you treat a mom-and-pop shop with 7 employees.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. I mean, you can't treat a company with 7 employees the same way you treat a company with 13,000 employees, and that's the way the NCAA approaches it, and maybe that's finally about to change, but, I mean, too little too late in my mind.
Yeah, I can just kind of equate that to my business experience of starting very small, a handful of people to several hundred people. Yeah. Didn't get to the thousands level, but had several hundred across multiple states. It's degrees of institutionalization. And that's what has to be followed as you scale the organization. The bigger you get, the more you've got to institutionalize that company. And but that doesn't mean you have to abandon sort of the intimacy and the assets and the benefits of keeping that sort of small company culture and feel. You can do both; they can coexist, but you can't be reactionary.
But you better have good leadership if you're going to do that.
I agree. You do, and set the messaging right. All right. So, anything else did he say besides we got a break coming up? Can you hang with us? I want to hear what else Sankey said. Or you got to go.
No, we're good.
Okay. Well, we got a break right here. We'll come back. I want you to give us some more information about what the commissioner said and your thoughts about the upcoming season. Richard Cross, host of Sports Talk, is our guest. We'll be right back on the JT Show.